1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, welcome to Performance Anxiety, part of the Pantheon Podcast Network. This show's a reunion of sorts. I'm joined by Pete Hoffman and Shannon McCardle of the Mendoza line. The band is reissuing their album We're All in This Alone. Pete and Shannon hadn't spoken for 12 years until the day before we recorded. They talk about missed opportunities, some regrets, Stratomatic baseball, and saying tit as many times as possible. The reissue of We're All in This Alone includes 3 bonus tracks that were found on a cassette in a box in Pete's basement. There's also some rare posters for purchase and some other stuff, so check out Mendoza Line Band on Instagram for details. Pick up the album on Bandcamp or any of the streaming services. Follow us at Performance ANX on social media. Subscribe, rate, and review. And check out all the other great shows on Pantheon Podcasts, of which we are a proud member. Now let's get together with Pete and Shannon of the Mendoza Line.
Hello. This is Shannon McCardle.
And this is Pete Hoffman from the Mendoza Line.
And you're
listening to Performance Anxiety with
Mark Shea.
Through that.
That actually was good, more than good enough. It was actually perfect.
Good. Thanks, Mark.
No, Pete and I had not even spoken until yesterday, probably in 12 years.
Wow. That's amazing. Holy shit. Damn, I'm glad I'm recording this section. Awesome.
But it was great talking to you, Shan.
I know. It's as if no time has passed. We also live like 2 miles from each other, so it's not acceptable. But we're gonna, as soon as we both feel comfortable actually meeting in person, we'll rectify the situation.
Oh man. So maybe like after we finish recording.
Well, let's
see how it goes.
Thinking, giving coronavirus a little more time.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
Life gets in the way for 12 years somehow.
Exactly.
I don't know what I've done with the past 12 years though, but
well, I've done nothing good, so
I will open up this whole conversation by saying I have probably more notes on this show than I've ever done on any other episode, and I feel less prepared than I have for any show I've done.
Well, that's flattering. That you're...
Oh my gosh!
The truth will surprise you.
Well, good, because I've read and heard some weird stories. So
all true.
All right. Well, what I like to do first is to find out a little bit about everybody's background, find out how you got into music in the first place. And since the band kind of, well, and I should say definitely not kind of, but it started with you, Pete. I want to find out a little bit about how you started in music. What was, did you have a musical family, or was it?
Not at all. I mean, like, basically, Tim, who is the other founding member of the Mendoza Line, and I went to high school together. And Paul Deppler, who was the bass player for 99% of the band's life, also went to high school with us. And we were kind of like, I don't know. There was a lot of really musical people in our school, but most of them like just wanted to play like in cover bands. And and they all kind of like were really good musicians. And Tim and I were kind of the guys on the periphery who wanted to like write songs. And so even though we didn't know how to play it all, like we were kind of like starting to mess around with writing songs when we were like 16, 17, 18. And I mean, I've never had a formal guitar lesson of any kind whatsoever. And I don't think Tim has either.
Oh, wow.
And like, we basically just figured it out. I mean, we just listened to a lot of the Replacements and the Young Fresh Fellows and all that kind of stuff when we were in high school, and Uncle Tupelo and that kind of stuff. And we just like figured those songs out. And, you know, I mean, my mom had like an old classical guitar that I remember. It was the first time I ever played music at all was with Tim, and he like beat the guitar that my mom had gotten in like 1952 to like shreds. I mean, and he later did that to another guitar of mine.
Oh my God.
But I just remember like playing like Run, Run, Run by like the Velvet Underground but yeah, I mean, but we had always kind of like envisioned we were going to be in a band when we were in high school, even, and we were kind of like all of our friends who were really good musicians. None of them played music. And we were like the guys who like had no fucking idea what we were doing, but we could write a song. Yeah. And so like I went to college in Ohio. Tim went to college in Georgia. And like once I was out of college, I had like moved, I had $5,000 that I had gotten from a inheritance from the death of my grandmother. And I like went to Athens and drank that away while playing like really crappy songs, with Tim and, a bunch of other folks from Athens. But like, I mean, there's no like musical background. I mean, it was basically like, I heard the Replacements and I was like, I want to be in a band. It's like, every other band that was like an indie rock band from, I don't know, 1982 until 2000 or something.
The Replacements spawned a whole lot of bands that said, "Hey, I can do that."
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the first time I ever heard them, I heard the Replacements. I was playing basketball with Tim in the front yard of his house, and I was like, at the time I was like, oh, I like Iron Maiden, and I still love Iron Maiden, but like I didn't know what an indie rock band was,
Right.
And it stopped me in my tracks, and it changed how my perception of music completely.
May I interject for a moment?
Yeah,
Really
absolutely.
quick? I just want to, for the record, I kissed Tommy Stinson on the lips.
Wow.
He was in a band called Perfect, which in the late 90s, and he was I think at the Atomic in Athens, and I was the only woman in the audience, and he was really drunk. And he went for me. It was very exciting.
Wow. Romantic.
It was very romantic.
But so Pete, you're from Virginia though, originally, right?
Yeah, McLean, Virginia. We grew up really close to DC. We went to Langley High School, so it was, the first time I ever saw Goldfinger, the movie Goldfinger, was at Strom Thurmond Jr.'s birthday party in 4th grade.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a very political kind of upbringing. And Tim's father was a lobbyist, and he ran Mo Udall's presidential campaign, and
wow.
And I remember one time like picking up the phone. I used to like be at Tim's house 24/7. I like would pick up the phone, and like I picked up the phone once. And it was like Mac McClarty, who was like the chief of staff of Bill Clinton. I was like, hello, it's Terry there. So like, I mean, it was very political kind of upbringing.
Well, I mentioned it because I'm actually recording this in Winchester. So.
Oh, that's where my brother lives.
Oh, really? Excellent.
Yeah.
So we're hanging in there.
Yeah. I love it.
Oh yeah, Winchester's great.
Yeah,
it's a sleepy little town, and although it's starting to explode with all the FBI coming in and Amazon coming in, and it's growing and growing.
It sounds ideal.
Yeah. All right. So Shannon, tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get into music?
Oh, I'm just a simple farm girl. I don't know. I've always loved music. I grew up, I was born in New York. We moved to Albany, Georgia, Southwest Georgia, Albany, Georgia when I was 4.
I know exactly what that is because I spent about a decade in Southeast Alabama.
Oh, where?
Just a little bit west of Dothan.
Waterworld.
Yeah.
And that's where John Troutman's from.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, we spent many a summer in Dothan at Waterworld. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I just grew up, listening to music, singing along with Crystal Gale and Anne Murray, and just, I guess, found myself as a teenager really spending a lot of time listening to Dylan and Costello, and just a music fan.
So how did? All right, so Peter, you started actually recording as the Mendoza line before Shannon joined the band. The first thing I want to ask is, how did you guys decide on the name Mendoza line?
No, I mean, well, we were recording under the moniker The Incompetones, which was I don't know. I love baseball. I'm obsessed with baseball. I mean, it's the thing I love the most in the world. And I was like, I'm going to write some songs about baseball, and then one of them was called the Mendoza line. And Tim's like, that's a really good name for a band. We're like, okay. I mean, that was it, because yeah, yes, but like the whole story of Mario Mendoza is well documented, but he was basically terrible at baseball. So they, a bunch of guys were making fun of him and said, hitting over 200 was, under 200 was like the Mendoza line.
Right,
so,
right.
It's a baseball thing, a nerdy baseball thing.
Well, little known fact, he actually improved once he left the major leagues and went back down to Mexico. He's in the Mexican Baseball Hall of Fame.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He ended up hitting in the Mexican League. I think his career average was 291.
Holy cow, that's pretty good.
So,
well, congratulations, Mario.
Congrats, Mario Mendoza. I'm going to have to tag him in this post.
Oh, yeah, please do. I want to have a conversation with him.
We'll see if we can make that happen. That would be amazing.
If you can make that happen, I'm forever indebted to you.
All right, now I have a quest. Now there's definitely a quest. All right, so you were in the Athens music scene in the early to mid '90s. Is that when everything kind of started with Mendoza line?
More like mid. No,
okay.
early mid.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I think we started it in 95, 96, and then, but but we were down there during that whole fun time to be in Athens and playing music. Of course, we were not popular at all. But, I mean, the Elephant Six people didn't know who we were. I mean, I know that I've had a lot of those folks seen it all. We were too drunk, and they were serious musicians who had a point of view, and we were like, let's write this song that will vaguely insult somebody I know. That's the kind of stuff that would have just drawn me right to you guys. This song is insulting. I love it.
That was before my time.
Yeah.
So how did you end up becoming part of the band then, Shannon?
Yeah.
I did, much to Pete's chagrin.
Because Pete and Tim, you two were actually the primary songwriters in the band.
Yeah.
And then Shannon, you kind of came in, were given a guitar and just started writing songs almost immediately. Is the story that I heard? Is that accurate?
It's true. Yeah. The second song I ever wrote, "A Bigger City," was on "We're All in This Alone."
If nothing ever happens in our town, that's okay. Stay. A bigger city's got its charm, but it could cause our romance harm.
I mean, all of those songs were my first. I think there was one before that did not make the cut that I was actually reminiscing about. It was recorded, Pete, at Greg Harmelink's.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you were there for the session, but it was a horrible song, which never made its way onto anything. But then I think "A Bigger City" was the second song I ever wrote, and then all the other stuff was on the records. Yes, so I just sort of fell into it.
So how did that work? I mean, three songwriters in a band that's actually quite a big amount for a band.
I mean, I don't know.
Turn of phrase, but
well, here's basically the truth of the matter is that it took me forever to write songs. On a couple of those other earlier albums, Tim would have 8 songs and I'd have 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. And, I just write songs really slow. Tim just writes a song and whatever comes, he writes them really fast. And by the time we got to we're all in this alone. I only had 3 or 4 songs, done. And Shannon, I mean, Tim and I never talked about it. We never actually had a conversation about it once. He was like, Shannon wrote all these songs. They should be on the record. And I was kind of like, I'm not so sure that's great. But then I kind of think to myself, like, back, thinking back to it, it's like, well, that means I don't have to write any more fucking songs. But I definitely was not, and as Shannon, intimated, like, I wasn't like happy about it at first, but I listened back to it now, and I'm just like, I don't know. I really think like a couple of her songs are like You Singled Me Out and The Bigger City are like 2 of my favorite on the whole record. We're all alone. And through the rest of the, time when I was in the band and also when I wasn't in the band, I mean, Shannon's songs are awesome and I love them. And I love them more now with perspective, because there's a lot, I mean, as you know, there's a lot of crazy shit that went on with this band over the years. There's a lot of hurt feelings. There was a lot of arguments. There was a lot of terrible shows. There was a lot of opportunities that were missed. And there's a lot of hard feelings. And kind of like after all these years, and you can gain some perspective and have some healing about like, you can actually like look at what was created and feel good about it. Like up until like 2 years ago, I didn't listen to a Mendoza line song for like 8 years. Like I just didn't listen to it because this was, a big, long, sad mistake in my life. And now I like go back and listen to it. I'm just like, holy Jesus, like this stuff is really good. Like all the songs, all the songwriters were real. I mean, first of all, I think everybody in the band is smart and literate, and I think everybody was thinking about how to like turn a phrase and to like, actually like communicate a real emotion and not just like, and now I'm just saying like, I feel really proud of the band now. And I don't think if you had asked me that same question 2 years ago, I'd have been like dismissive just because I'm kind of a baby.
No, I don't think you are a baby. I think I would have had a hard time like 2 months ago. I was feeling a lot of trepidation about this release, and it actually has been through like being in touch, especially with Pete about it. Though I'm just like, I've revisited the stuff, and I feel I feel proud, and I also feel far enough away from it to. I don't know, to not feel the shame and the sadness and the hurt and all that went along with that sort of decade for me. So it's taken a long time.
Wow.
Yeah. But I think that just talking purely about the songs and just like throwing all the other inane nonsense that went on, like the songs are great. The songs are great. The records are great. And I'm like really proud of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they're amazing. I've been listening to it for the past couple of days in preparing for this, and I'm kind of blown away by it. I really wish I had, I guess, paid more attention back when it was released.
I wish you had too, Mark.
So I apologize, I guess.
Oh, other people. We accept your apology.
Pete, I did read a quote that you said. You said you basically did everything in your power not to succeed, but you ended up writing this amazing album.
But music is a business. I mean, it really is. And it's about like having all your ducks in a row. Even with this like reissue, like there's like little mistakes that have been made, but the stakes are so low now, like who really cares? But I don't, but like, Tim and I were like constantly in a metaphysical struggle about like how the band should be managed. Like to me, it's like, first of all, Sean Fogarty and John Troutman, who joined the band like around the Lost and Revelry years, are like crack musicians. Like they know what they're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know the difference between like an E minor and an E7. I don't know what that is, but I know how to play a bunch of stuff. But those guys are like virtuoso musicians, and Paul is a really great bass player. So I was always kind of like, let's have good equipment. Let's practice, let's take it seriously. Let's not get drunk, all that kind of stuff. And it was just kind of like, there were parts of the band where that was the case, that, we played really good shows and we did a lot. But I mean, you have to, I don't know. really commit to the business side to succeed. Yeah. And you have to play shows with people and not be dicks to them, and or just be, I don't know what the word is, but overly friendly, or, and we were not like that. We were just kind of like, maybe we can take a 6-pack of their beer and they won't get mad. You know what I mean? Like, if we were playing with somebody, and you just didn't have that business. And we were like, there were times when we were playing shows, I was like, wow, we're really good. And then we would get to a point where we'd play it like South by Southwest, and then there'd be people coming to see us, like from all these labels and managers, and we would just like absolutely shit the bed in a way that was like so preposterous that it can't even really be explained in any language that's known to man. So like, so we would just, it wasn't, there's the business part wasn't taken seriously enough. I mean, I think that everyone, Tim, Shannon, and I, and also all the people who played, were very serious when it was about writing the songs and recording the songs, and that was taken really seriously, and like having like sort of some kind of theme that would run through the record, and all that kind of stuff, and that was taken. But the stuff that really counts, which is being on the road 200 days a year and not like falling over and smashing your head into your amp because you like drank 12 beers before the show. Like, that's just not, I mean, we weren't like the New York Dolls. I mean, we weren't like some, thing that was like, oh, people are coming to see us like implode. I mean, only our friends would want to see that. If you're like playing like in Oklahoma to like 37 people, you have 37 people who are going to tell 37 other people that you saw some great band. Instead, we were like, well, we only know 9 songs, so we'll play them in 37 minutes and run off the stage in shame. So anyway, I don't know if that's too long of an answer, but it is.
There's no such thing as too long of an answer, because I got time to fill. So, while you guys, I kind of want to focus on this album because it's being re-released by Bar None, and you've got a really interesting story because they've added a few extra tracks to it, which I want to get to in a minute. But I want to find out a little bit more about the recording of this, because you're based in Athens, Georgia at the time, and then the band moved to New York. And so, how does the album fit into that? Was it recorded after you got to New York, in the middle of the move, in both places? What's the timeline?
My recollection, I could be wrong, Pete, is that
Pete's got a good look on his face right now. He's like, oh, shit.
Go for it, Dad.
Pete and Tim, right, you guys moved in, I don't remember what month, in 98, and I was a number of months after you. I think we started recording it in Athens, but after you guys had moved to New York and I was still in Athens. And then some of the songs were also recorded with Jerry Key and Nevin Oakes. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, so the only thing I can say for sure is that Where You'll Land, the last song on the record, and Baby, I Know What You're Thinking, were both recorded in one session in Athens at Chase Park. With like that's where those were recorded, and then Everything We Used to Be, that was recorded in Queens by Ian Steins recorded that, who was like the drummer at the time. And then as far as like where Tim recorded like Assisted Living, and I don't even know honestly I don't know where you recorded A Bigger City. Did you record that with
Greg?
Yeah.
Oh, but Assisted Living was a place in New Jersey, I think. But everywhere.
Yeah, so we recorded like all over the place. I have no idea. I mean, like the memories are so fuzzy. But I think my recollection is that we moved to New York. I only know this, is because my dad had a heart attack or a heart situation in like November of 99, and I think Sherry, who was my girlfriend at the time, we had just moved in September of 99, I think, to New York. But I can't remember. Don't quote me. It might have been 98. I don't know.
I think it was 98, Pete.
All right. So it was 98. I've been saying in my head it was 99 forever. I mean, I don't know what year it is now. I don't think anyone knows what year it is.
Yeah.
Well, it's the worst year ever.
Yeah. So, but the point is, it was recorded all over the place, and yeah, it was a really strange time because Shannon and I lived in a building together.
Oh my God, that was. I mean, your place was nice. My place was shit. I lived in like the attic apartment with some people I really didn't know from Athens, and it was just like it was just. Oh God, that was miserable. That was miserable.
Yeah. But if you go over to that part of Clinton Hill now, it's like fancy. But back then it was like.
What street is that, Pete?
Myrtle Street in
Myrtle
Clinton
and
Hill.
what?
Myrtle and what's the main road there?
Willoughby? Am I making that?
No, it's the.
No.
I can't remember, but I'll remember it. But it's like right by it's like the next block is the BQE, whatever that is. So, yeah. But yeah, so the record was recorded all over the place. I don't know how we even put it all together. It was like just a total shit show. I mean, you have no idea. I mean, I'm sure that there was like somebody gave us one of those light buzzers so we would forget all the details of how it all got together. But yeah.
So is
I don't know.
Shannon, is that part of why you've called it a Frankenstein album? Because it seems to be stitched together from all different kinds of locations and recording sessions.
Did I call it that?
There's a quote.
Oh,
you called it a Frankenstein album.
Well, yeah. I mean, mostly I was just referring to myself, but yeah. I mean, some of it just being a blur, like where was all of it done, but also my being confused throughout the whole operation, just not knowing what I was doing. But yeah, truly it was, I don't know. I mean, I think it was probably a year of recording in different places. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, like I certainly didn't have any idea of what the final product would be. Yeah.
Did anybody have an idea of what the final product, was there a goal in mind? Like I wanted it to sound like this, or was it you were just writing songs and at the end, hey, we've got enough songs, let's put an album out?
I think that Tim kind of had more of a vision than I did. I mean, I was pretty much like, let's write a song, let's write a bunch of songs. And Shannon was just learning how to play songs, you know, and Tim's material on that is like the weirdest of his material by far. Like, it's like really kind of like, I mean, I love all those songs, but they're more like that Sasha, whatever the heck it's called. Like, I mean, that has like, yeah, Sasha Goes Too Far. It's got like 3 different parts, and
you fell in with the long years of drinkers and pillheads, the nitwits and scores, the unwashed and unfit. You met from your lawyers, and now I wish to resemble. I just couldn't feel a consequential thing. That memory guarded at a weird Russian party where they blackmail the artists and hoard the Bacardi. And my plays tricks. What's the use? It's all pretext to yours.
I don't even know why there are 3 different parts, and then there's like he's got a lot of kind of like Yola Tango stuff on some of the stuff, and he never really did that again. It was a weird. I mean, I love those songs, but they're like definitely not like what the Mendoza line ended up being, I think, in the end.
I remember recording that song and like doing the harmonies, and then at the end he's like, so Shan, just sing a harmony, but I don't want to hear what you're saying. so I had these I mean, for me, very meaningful lyrics, and then I was like, do you want to know what I just sang? He's like, nope.
Okay.
Nailed it.
Well, the original issue begins and ends with some really weird pieces by Robert Duckworth.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that was? Because they're just really odd.
Well, Rod was a friend of mine in Albany, Georgia, in high school. And he was just an odd duck, hence the name Duckworth. And just an amazing composer, musician who I think it was a year ahead of me in high school, moved to Japan and was composing there, and then was either visiting or moved to New York for a short period of time, and we sort of reconnected. And I don't know. Do you remember anything else, Pete?
I never heard that stuff until it was like I got the album. I don't even know what it was, but I think it was like Tim's. I mean, it was like definitely like Tim's idea. Like, let's have some like extraneous noise on it. I mean, Tim has like, I think it's cool, but I don't really understand it. But like Tim has like a more of like a take whatever the pieces are of it, synthesize it into like a big idea. And like, I don't know, he wanted to have a noisy, weird record. And I think in a lot of ways it is a noisy, weird record, minus a few of the songs.
Oh yeah.
And who even knows, like, what the hell? I mean, it's, a story about the record that I just remember like so clearly was when I was going to record Baby I Know What You're Thinking and Where You'll Land with Andy Baker at Chase Park. Like, I remember Andy, I think I flew down to Atlanta. Andy picked me up at the airport, and I was like writing the song in the car. Wow. He was like driving from Atlanta to Athens. I mean, this might be totally off, and I'm just like trying to like, because he played drums on it. We didn't have like Andreas was kind of the on and off drummer at the time, and Andy and I was like, it was just like me and Andy in the studio, and I'm like writing the last few lines of it. And he's like, I'm like, is this good? Is this good? He's like, yeah, that's good. And then Andy played the drums, then the bass, and like.
Did I sing there, Pete?
Yeah. I don't recall you showing up and singing, but you and Philip, Shannon's twin brother, sing the harmonies on the end of the song. It was at Andy's, but I wasn't there. I think, yeah, I mean, that happened all the time, like throughout the history of the Mendoza line. I would like record what I thought was like a song, a finished song, and then like, or whatever the producer would be like, oh, well, I had this person come in and play this part. I'm like, whatever. I mean, like, yeah, I was just kind of like, okay, Bob Hoffner, like, you know, with, pedal steel like virtuoso would just like I like put down major guitar parts would come in, and then I would be done in the vocals, and then Ray would be like, I'm calling Bob in. I'm like, all right. And then he would like, here's the final mix, and it was like all of Bob's parts, and I'd be like, perfect. Next. Next one. I mean, like, I don't know, but yeah, but as far as like, and like at the Where You'll Land, which is the last song on that record, is kind of like I don't know what it is. It's like kind of a country song, I guess. And there's like this sort of Elephant Six, like
it's a dirge.
Yeah, it's a dirge. It is. And like at the end, it's like this whole like trumpet thing. And Andy like brought somebody in the day we recorded, and they played like one of the trumpet parts. And I was like, can you just make this better? And he's like, okay. And then like a few weeks later, he's like, I got these other guys to come in and do it. And I was like, sounds good to me.
Can you just make this better? Yeah, sure. A couple weeks later.
I don't know how to play the fucking trumpet.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh my gosh. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. while I was researching this, I read something that I want to find out if this is actually the truth. And you guys may not even know because, like I said, this whole album sounds like it was like a really weird, disjointed effort.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice way of putting it.
Okay, the song Idiot Heart. Margaret Maurice recorded it, presented it to you guys, and then quit. Is that actually what happened?
No.
Okay, good, because that sounds so shitty.
No. Margaret was Tim's girlfriend, and she was going to art school in New York.
Okay.
And I think, I don't think she ever joined or quit the band. I mean, that's sort of the way I see it. And she had this beautiful song to contribute and got on the record.
I have no idea. I mean, to me, the song is like a mic drop. I mean, it's literally like, it's like pretty much like, I don't know the exact timeline at all, but like Tim and Margaret broke up. And like, I remember like when they broke up, she like, Tim and Paul were living there and she pretty much like moved out and she's like, you guys have a month to stay here and I'm gone. And that was like what that song was to me. It was pretty much like, fuck you. I mean, kind of. Wow. And that's what it was. I mean, but I don't think she like technically wrote it, moved out like the next day or whatever, but it's like, and Margaret, I'm still in touch with her a little bit. She lives in Portland.
Pete, what was the name of the guy? Okay, we recorded that song. It was in Athens. Someone Bishop. He always wore a hat. And he may have been from Albany. No, do you remember? There was this...
Yeah, Chris Bishop. Yeah, I mean...
But was he from Albany as well? Or am I making that up? I might be making that up.
I mean, I did find like some really weird pictures of you and Chris and Bren and like doing a haircut.
Oh, well, I cut everybody's hair, you know. I don't... Yeah.
Well, with all the weirdness that went along with recording this album, were you at all surprised by all the positive reviews it got?
Nope.
All right.
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, yes, no, I wasn't surprised. I thought it was really good. I mean, I thought it was good back then. I knew there was like a few songs that were like digestible, and you know they were good. No, I mean, I think we were kind of on a trajectory of like doing something better, like for the whole length of the Mendoza line. So it was like we had gotten a lot of press, or some press anyway, from the other things. I wasn't surprised that people liked it. I mean, it was better than all the other records a mile. I mean, this is like the third full length, and there was like another EP that had like 10 songs on it. So I wasn't that surprised that people liked it. It's all right.
Excuse me, guys. Give me 1 second with these pops.
No problem. No problem.
But you know, yeah, no, I thought it was pretty good at the time, and then I mean, I don't know. I can tell you honestly, I don't think I've listened to it for like 10 years straight from beginning to end until recently.
Wow.
And it's, yeah, I think it's really and I actually like, you know, I've been playing it for my kids and stuff, and they're into it.
Oh, awesome! That's awesome. Yeah. Now, is it just this album in particular, or is it the discography that you were involved in?
No, I mean, I haven't really shared that much of the music with them over time, but both of my kids are really interested in music. The older one is really into Phoebe Bridgers, so of course, who isn't into Phoebe Bridgers? So, she got to meet her last year at a sound check, because her records are in Dead Ocean. So one of my old best friends is Phil Waldorf, who runs that and used to run the record label that we were on. So he set it up for my daughter to go meet Phoebe, and it was like amazing. Oh, and my younger daughter is really into Iron Maiden. I've taken her to see Iron Maiden twice, yes. And she's 9, so she's.
I haven't even seen Iron Maiden.
Wow, they're they're really great to see live. No one should ever miss that.
Oh, I love Iron Maiden too. That's, man.
My daughters, Muriel and Hazel, are really into Pet Sounds. So
Like from the Dogs or the Beach Boys?
Yeah, they're well, no, the album by the Beach Boys, and my daughters are Canine. Yes.
Well, that's fitting. Did you guys have? I guess you said you were listening to a lot of Sonic Youth and Sweetheart of the Rodeo at the time you were recording We're All in This Alone, and I kind of get definitely a Replacements meets the Birds feel with a lot of this. Were you going for a specific sound, or was it just what you were listening to was influencing what you were playing? I know it's like 20 years ago, so
yeah.
20 drunk years ago.
I feel like I was probably the one contributing a lot more of Sweetheart of the Rodeo. I was like obsessed with Graham Parsons at the time, and this being my first sort of songwriting effort. I think that was probably my doing, for better or for worse.
Yeah, I mean, I have like a whole group of friends from Brooklyn, and like we would always get together and like play, like include like Matthew Cause from Now to Surf and like a couple other guys. When we would always like get together, there would always be like Beth Werner, who's in this band Bird of Youth that's really great. We would always like sing Graham Parsons songs. It was like I just love Graham Parsons.
Oh yeah.
But
and so does Paul. Paul. Definitely.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The bass player. Everybody loves Graham Parsons. Those are like super influential records for me personally, and everyone in the band. And Sonic, I love Sonic Youth. I think that's like I listen to a lot of Sonic Youth, but I have to say I listen to probably more Superchunk than any living human. I love Superchunk.
Oh wow!
And I listened to a lot of during those years, and still listen to Superchunk, and I listen to all their records. But I think that probably like Superchunk had like more of an influence on some of like, I don't know, at least the like discovered track that we have, like Waiting in the Wings, which is out as part of like the re-release. It's like a like sugar Husker Du, super chunky kind of feel. And I was always like, in the very, very, very early recordings of the Mendoza line, like I think Superchunk was like a huge influence along with the Replacements for a lot of things.
All you guys would play in the car, like, I don't know when, I don't even remember why I was in a car with, this was like not on tour, but I just remember Superchunk playing. I love Superchunk now, but at the time, and just to see Tim sort of like headbanging and sort of salivating, how he would do, and I like, and I didn't know Superchunk, and I'm sort of like, I don't really get where this passion's coming from. Now I get it, but at the time I would just see him, go into some sort of conniption, and there was always saliva. Like, you don't remember that? I think you would be driving.
I think Pete's video is frozen. There we go.
He would be driving, and then Tim would be in the front seat, just like, it wasn't head banging, but it was thrashing, and it was always wet. It was always. That's what
sounds like a seizure
to you.
Yeah, no, it was. We called the medics numerous times.
So you brought up one of the extra tracks that's on the new release of We're All in This Alone. Where did you find these extra tracks?
I mean, literally, I have like a box. I had a storage unit with like just a bunch of crap in it. And I had in it, one of these boxes was like, a clear plastic box that just had just hundreds of Mendoza line, like reviews, contracts, I don't know, everything, all of this Mendoza line stuff. I mean, like yearbooks I had from high school with the most offensive stuff you've ever seen in the English language written by a human. I mean, that like would literally have like, people would be like sent to the moon if you read some of the horrible things people wrote to me in yearbooks.
Oh yeah.
All that kind of stuff. And underneath that, I found like a bunch of tapes, and like one of them, like cassette tapes. And one of them was like a show from 2000 where we played at Shuba's in Chicago, which Shannon I'll send to you. It is an absolute train wreck of complete disaster.
Oh.
I remember that show being really good, though.
Called like 4-track recordings, which it is not good.
Oh my gosh! Now I want to hear it.
I'll send it to you. It's terrible.
Oh,
and then
yes.
I have there's like one tape that was like, that's in 4-track recordings, and on that I have like a lot of Shannon's like early 4-track recordings, like that are like kind of, I want to release them eventually, like in some way, because they're like haunting. They're like amazing. I love them.
Oh wow.
And then on one of them, it's just like rough mixes, and it has like a couple songs that made records, and then it's the 3 tracks that are the bonus tracks for We're All in This Alone. It's one is Shannon's song called Race Myself Home, right?
Yeah.
And then the other one is This Time Next Spring, which is like a piano ballad that Tim and Shannon duet on. I don't know if it was on it was never released in any way or shape or form. I don't know. I've never heard it. And then this song called Waiting in the Wings, which is like a, sugar Husker Du kind of like rave up, which I didn't remember. I kind of like remembered it a little bit, but like I didn't know where we recorded it, whatever. And so I sent it to our drummer, Andreas. It's like, oh, yes, I remember this clearly. We recorded this,
Wow.
in 1998 or 1999 at Chase Park. It was part of this session of songs. It was like kind of like in the space between recording I Like You When You're Not Around, which is the record right before this, and We're All in This Alone. We would just kind of like periodically like go in, record some songs, and what it was for, who knew. And then, but that song, We're Waiting in the Wings, has it's not like, I don't know, it's like sounds like it's a much more straightforward kind of song.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I don't know what we were thinking at the time, why it wasn't on the record, but it's clearly like it would be hard to put it into the lineup. So anyway, like I got the tape, I sent it to Ray Ketchum. He like remastered the cassette versions, and then I was like Skyping with the guy who recorded them, Andy Baker, who lives in Taiwan. And he has like a studio. He's like, I was like, I should just ask him if he has these tapes for any reason. And he's like, I don't have them. They must have been thrown out. But I'm still close with Dave Barbie, who is the other engineer, owner of that studio, and we keep in touch because we both play Stratomatic baseball, which is like it's like Dungeons and Dugouts. It's like, you play a game, totally nerdy thing. And I had like an article written about me playing Stratomatic baseball in quarantine because I play with my one friend and we do it over Skype basically, or FaceTime. So I said, my one friend. So I sent it to Dave Barbie, and I was like, check out this article of me in the New York Post. And by the way, do you happen to have these old Mendoza line tapes? And like 10 minutes later, he's like, oh, you mean these tapes? He's like, I've held them onto them for 20 years. So he had like the original 1/4-inch tape,
wow.
2-inch tape, because we are periodically in touch. So I mean, I'm just surprised he kept them, and I'm surprised he didn't like say, hey, do you want these tapes?
Wow.
So he like digitized them and sent them to me, and then Ray Ketchum like remastered it a little bit, but it's only Waiting in the Wings. Waiting in the Wings is the only one that has like the original tape.
So Waiting in the Wings was literally waiting in the wings for 20 years.
Yes.
Really, it was crazy. It was really crazy. It wasn't like it was hard to find, but there was no reason to like ever ask for anybody why they would keep Mendoza line tapes from 20 years ago. But except for like utter and complete self-hatred and having a large attic.
which seems to be like a theme with this album.
Yeah. Real.
Well, I really enjoyed listening to it. My wife loves it. I played it for her. Everything about this. It's like I had mentioned before. It's a little all over the place, but in like a charming kind of way. That's
fair.
I love it, but that's the kind of stuff I get drawn to. Is stuff where I don't know what in the hell's coming next. So that's the kind of that's one reason that it drew me to it. Plus, the beautiful vocals. Shannon, you've got some absolutely gorgeous performances on here.
Thank you.
Pete, one of my favorite songs on the album is "Baby I Know What You're Thinking" too. So that is so catchy, and it's
pretty catchy. Not bad. Not bad.
Right. So, I mean, I think we're all in this alone. Like, if you go back and listen to it, it is like kind of like, in a way, like a band trying to find out what the hell they are. You know what I mean?
That's
like
exactly
we didn't know. Like. Yeah, we didn't know. We kind of have we listen to a lot of music. We're fans of a lot of music, and when you're not like somebody who can like read tabs or something, like you're just kind of just like all that stuff sort of just goes into the DNA of your music one way or another. It's like I've never once in my life like gone to like I don't want to know how to play a Slayer song, even though I love Slayer. It's just too hard for me, Yeah. So it's like, a lot of these the songs are in that. There's not that much intention to it. It's just kind of like, okay, this is what happened, Well,
when I compared the songs from "We're All in This Alone" to the albums that came after it, this one sounds a little more fearless or reckless, maybe. I don't know. It's.
Oh, for sure. I mean, listening back, I think I sang on every single song, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember it just being so much fun because I was like, I'm going to say tit, 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 tit in as many songs as I can do that. And like just having so much fun, like singing backing vocals and harmonies. And I remember that being a real delight, and listening back, it just, kind of brought me to tears because I think I don't know, we lost that a little, it's because I was so new with everything that was so exciting to me and so exhilarating. So I totally I just got my rocks off doing that. And then I think by the next record, it was a little more, I don't want to say refined, maybe subdued, but I remember the excitement I felt sort of playing around vocally so much. That was a real highlight.
The stakes were really low. We were just like, whatever felt good to us at the time is what it was, and I think there was a lot more thought into the whole process on the other records. And I think in some ways that was a negative thing. I think Lost in Reverie kind of like is a really great record, but it's definitely a lot more polished.
Yeah.
It was definitely still very shambolic during the We're All in This Alone. I don't think during when we played the tour for We're All in This Alone or any of the shows around it, no one was like, wow, this is a really great live act. But by the time we got to Lost in Reverie, there was, by the time the Lost in Reverie came around, probably 2 out of 3 shows were, not an embarrassment that would wake you up in the middle of the night, sweating through your clothes,
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. So the stakes were low and we were still trying to figure it out,
Has it been hard to listen to the album recently? Was there any trepidation in going back to listen to it? Because I know you both, at the beginning of the show, you said you hadn't really listened to it in years.
Shannon, you take it.
Well, yeah, no, I was horrified. It hasn't been 20 years or, even 10 years since I've listened to it, but maybe 6 or 7 years since I gave it a good listen. And then I don't know. I've just been like, I feel like my jaw has been clenched when talking about this re-release. I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is good. This needs to come back out. And then I was just thinking, there's so much that I feel regretful about with the band in a way. And there's so many feelings tied up. And of course, with my failed marriage with Tim and all of these things, but I thought, oh, this is going to be really, really painful. And then on the release day, when I listened to it, I felt really happy listening to it. And then I felt really happy reconnecting with Pete. So it's I'm surprised by how positive, no, seriously, how positive I feel about it. I thought it was going to be really dreadful.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Not bad.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think I don't know. So like a few years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I like moved into a new apartment and I was like, I need some like, you know, I need to put like a Mendoza line poster up here. Let me see if any exist. And I like Googled it and like this Mendoza line poster came up, which is like it's like a Mario Mendoza like baseball card. And like some guy made it for some random show that we were playing.
Was it Hugh? Was it Hugh?
No. It was like when I found this poster like 2 or 3 years ago or whatever, I was like, wow, this is I started sort of getting back into like just going back and listening to some of the band stuff and letting my negative feelings about it like go away more like the last couple of years. And also like my really close friend who I play Stratomatic baseball with is like, whenever you talk about the band, you sound like such an asshole. You know, he's like, you just sound like a crabby old man, which I am, but I shouldn't have to be that way about the band because he's,
but you were that way when we were in the band.
I know, and that was a failure. It was a failure.
No, I think it was a strength.
I don't know. I wish I wasn't that way for when the band was around. I wish I wasn't that way for the last 10 years and been working really hard on, you know, I was the one who, you know, edited the video and built the website and have been managing most of the Instagram stuff. And I'm having like a good time doing it, you know?
Oh, that's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah.
It is awesome, Pete. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you guys have moved on from the band. The band doesn't exist basically anymore, really, outside of these releases. What are you guys doing right now? What do you actually? You're in production, right?
Yeah, I've actually worked for the same production company since I moved to New York. Like I've never, it's like we do television productions for like PR firms and brands and stuff. I mean, it's not like super scintillating stuff, but I mean, it is fun because I get to work with like a lot of celebrities like Jordan. I've worked a lot with I don't know, like Kelly Ripa and I don't know whoever, name them, and I've probably worked with them at one point or another. You know, I got to work with Jim Palmer, and I'm a big Orioles fan.
Oh, there you go.
A couple times, and you know, and just like a ton of people, like, you know, and for the most part, everybody's really nice. I got to do a job with Mr. T once, which was like the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
Oh man, I am jealous now.
Yeah.
I Googled you recently, Pete, and your bio is really impressive.
Really? I think that's
really
the other Mr. Hoffman.
On Gorovitz Communications. Am I allowed to say?
Sure, you can say whatever you want. So, yeah. But, I mean, I don't know. I work. I have 2 kids. You know, I'm currently in Cape Cod at my aunt's house, going fishing every day.
Yeah, it sounds really tough.
Shannon, what have you been up to since the band kind of...
I don't know. No,
Stuff.
I have been teaching high school English. I teach for a public school in Brooklyn. I teach 12th graders, which of course has been a very trying year. Like we have our graduation on Friday, and it's heartbreaking, you know, see all that they're not able to celebrate together. So I've been teaching high school for the last 13 years, and I've been putting out solo records.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I know I've got 3 kids in high school, so I know the pain. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
15, 16, and 17-year-olds. So freshman, sophomore, and junior.
What were you guys thinking? You weren't thinking.
Well, the good thing is...
I don't know what you were thinking.
All right, I'm going to have to put a clip into that. Put a little drop right underneath that. But see, the good thing is we get through everything all at once. It's all done. Yeah. And once it's done, it's done. But
you've got Irish triplets.
Well, yeah, we're a very Irish family.
Yeah.
So what are the plans going forward with Mendoza Line? Are you going to be working on any of the other albums, re-releasing any of the other albums? Is there more unreleased material to be shared?
Yes, I mean, I think we're going to see how this one goes, and they'll either be like, we'll slowly put out re-releases of everything over the next couple of years, or if it doesn't go well,
we don't.
One and done.
Everything out of we'll just put everything out in one way or another. But there has been talk, and we were actually going to record a couple new songs last year before all of this nonsense started happening.
Oh wow!
And I think that's still in the cards. I mean, I know that John Troutman and Sean Fogarty, who are like kind of the classic lineup Mendoza Line members, like they really want to record, and I haven't written any songs in years, and I've started writing songs again. So, and that's I don't know.
Pete, I love the song you shared with me that you were thinking of recording, and I came up with some pretty fancy harmonies. So I hope we get.
I think we should record it. I mean, like, there's no reason, but I will only release it if Trump loses.
Well, that goes without saying. But
yeah, I mean, I think we'll definitely record some songs. I don't think it's like a new album, but maybe like with the next reissues, we'll have and they recorded a couple songs to go along with the reissue or whatever, and see where it goes.
That's fantastic. That's really good news. Where can people find out about the new album? How can they pick it up and order it, since you can't really go anywhere right now?
You can get it on, your Spotify, your iTunes. You can get it on mendozaline.com, right, Pete?
Yeah. But if you want to order we're actually going to put out vinyl for this record. It's nice. It's still in the early stages. Like a lot of the vinyl pressing plants are backed up because they're not fully staffed, I don't think. But also, we didn't really make the decision to do this until people kept asking us. I mean, we've already sold quite a few of them, and pre-order, and you can pre-order it on Bandcamp exclusively right now. So if you go to the Mendoza Line Bandcamp page, you can order your vinyl copy, and
I ordered 17 of them.
We're rich. No, if you but I highly encourage everyone to go on to Bandcamp and order it. It's easy to find us on Bandcamp. And also we have I found like a trove of the original We're All in This Alone poster, which is hideous but awesome.
Oh, cool.
And
that's the one with Margaret Sketch, right?
Yeah, Margaret Sketch. It's a really kind of weird poster, but I think it's really it's haunting. It's really cool. I found 40 or 50 of those, and we haven't done much advertising about this, but we are going to sell those, and we're going to all be to the Bail Project, because we figure we have to give something back in these times. So I think hopefully we can raise like $1,000 to send to the Bail Project. We've already sold maybe like 10 of the 40, but we haven't really done much advertising about it.
Right.
But it's all on our website. It's easy to find. You just go to our website, and there's a whole form you fill out, and you send PayPal, and we'll get it to you in a couple weeks.
But it's a quick form. I don't want anyone to feel like they're gonna, have to spend a lot of time. It's a quick form.
I think when we posted about it, somebody bought one within like a minute. So
hey, there you go.
So So we'll be posting more about that, but at this point, our focus is trying to sell enough pre-order vinyl so we don't have to lay out too much money, or Barnett doesn't have to for the vinyl.
Well, I refuse to order more, so someone else needs to do their job. Mark, have you ordered one?
I just found out about it. I just have the digital.
All right, well.
So you'll get on that.
Yes, I'll get on that. Yes, ma'am.
I know where you live, so it's very.
Do you know where he lives?
I mean, it's in Winchester. It's not that big, so I mean, I'm sure I could go to my brother's and drive around.
Yeah, because I live across from the country club on Sensony. He'll know exactly where that is.
You know that, Pete?
I mean, my brother. No, I don't know anything. I don't know where I am. So okay, I'll ask him because he lives in Winchester. It's like Stony Mead Drive, somewhere over there.
Okay,
do you know where that is?
It sounds familiar.
Just order the fucking vinyl.
Yeah, I'll know your address.
Oh, yeah, but well, see, he just said now he's going to have my address.
No, I know. I'm sorry for that.
But see, if I order it and he gets my address, I still won't have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
Except maybe a drop in for a couple fingers of whiskey or something. I don't know.
I mean, next time I'm in Winchester in 2025, we should definitely have a drink together.
We should. We might. The town may have opened up by then.
Yeah.
So where can people find, is there a social media presence for the band, or is everything just going through the Bandcamp and the record label?
Thanks to Pete, there's a substantial social presence or whatever. Tell them about it, Pete.
Yes, tell us about it, Pete.
So it's all Mendoza. It's at Mendoza Line Band on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So we have different things going on each one of those things at various times. We're actually month-long kind of campaigns that we're going to do that are, it'll probably not be month-long. It'll probably be several month-long, but we're going to do like a kind of write-up of every song on We're All in This Alone that we feel like writing and put it in our Instagram stories.
Oh, cool.
Tell some like little tales about each one of them. All will be fabricated and written in French. But we're going to do something like that. And we have something insane plan for the Instagram, but it might not be for a couple weeks. But all I can tell you is that it has something to do with Paul Kepler, our many mustaches, and he made like the mustache famous in indie rock during the 90s and 2000s, and we have a lot of pictures
and penny loafers.
Yes, so we're putting together a whole thing to pick their favorite Paul Kepler mustache. So that will be coming up soon.
Nice.
So just
have you run this by Paul? Because I think you should run it by Paul first.
I will not run this by Paul. So Paul will not know of it. But yeah, so it is going to happen. It might not be for a couple weeks, and there will be many, many mustaches on our Instagram feed. And
awesome.
The other thing that's great about our Instagram feed, you can see the pictures of the band with the worst jeans in history, because we had terrible jeans.
They were the worst jeans. It was before skinny jeans, so they were the boot cut.
There's worse things that you could have the worst of.
I mean, the jeans were so bad. I mean, like, I disagree. Every time that we post something, Shannon is just in this picture, and then he's just like, "I'm sad because of our jeans," and it's just like this running thing on Instagram. and then our friends will be like, "Why? What? This is a great picture other than the jeans." I mean, it's like, because the jeans, it's like, what are we hiding in there? Like a baguette? I mean, there's like 4 baguettes in each leg of the pants.
Except for Tim, who didn't own a pair of jeans. Like,
what did you wear?
From like 1994 to, I don't know, like 2004. So he was always wearing some sort of weird old slacks. Everyone else was wearing jeans. And then Tim was wearing, no, not, I take that back, corduroys, remember? Like, even in the summer, corduroys.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Summer corduroys. That's a hashtag.
We were not fashion staples, so we were not making a
Speak for
fashion staple.
yourself.
Shannon looked good. We all looked like a bunch of like guys she like found behind a bar somewhere.
No,
Well, from the stories I heard, that might be accurate.
Yeah, it
I
is.
was surprised
It was.
looking back at the photos. I was like, oh, I was like fat during some of the Mendoza line years. And I don't remember, but I'm like, oh yeah, no, that was real. I made Pete take down some photos. I was like, nope, you can't put that one up there.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this has been so much fun. I really do appreciate you guys spending the time and telling me.
Well, no, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Okay. Pete's like, I'm out of here. Forget it. Now I got shit to do. But thank you guys so much. Man, this has been a blast. I really do appreciate you spending time. I've kept you well over an hour, so thank you very much for indulging me in for the re-release of it, because I'm really into it. I really really enjoying it.
Thank you. And thanks for having us.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
They say we were caught in the eye of the storm. We should